It might be evening here, but it's morning over there. Good morning to the US of A, JoAnna Abrams, who is the founder and CEO of MindClick. Hello, JoAnna, how are you?
I'm well. Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Yeah, great to have you. Great to have you. What time is it over there now? I mean, here it's now 6:30 in the evening, and your side is
It's 8:30 in the morning.
amazing. The global nature of our businesses.
Yes. So you're having your evening cocktail and I'm getting my morning chai.
I'm about to have it, but let's chat a bit first. MindClick. What does MindClick do? What is it?
Yeah. So what MindClick is about is providing owners the ability to purchase products for their hotels that are supporting the health of people on the planet, and doing so in a way that is very easy for them, doesn't drive up costs, doesn't impact timelines, and still have products that meet other performance requirements. Why? Why do we do this? It's because depending on the industry you're in, 80 to 90% of the carbon footprint of a building comes from supply chain. And by having information up front, hotel owners and their design teams can make more informed decisions that can help address the big challenges that we all face in the hospitality industry as a result of climate change.
So that's, I mean, we're smack bang on time for the recent COP26 discussions. It's a hot topic, making the planet, making every component of the planet more sustainable. In our priorities chats and on the research that I've done around MindClick, I believe you're working with some of the big players.
Yes, we are. We have been working with Marriott for almost 8 years now. And Arne Sorensen, who is such a great visionary and great man, had the leadership vision in 2011, 2012 to set out a goal of greening the global supply chain. It was a very interesting choice of words. It wasn't, let's go find some green products, let's go find some manufacturers who are green. Instead, let's move everybody along the continuum. And the philosophy is every product can and should be made in ways that are better for the health of our planet and the health of people. And what the opportunity that we have had with Marriott and continue to have is to provide them what we call product intelligence. And it comes out of a Toyota framework around continuous performance improvement, Kaizen, folks may have heard of. And the idea is that you're measuring every aspect of a product's life cycle to determine what changes could be made or what considerations need to be part of the process in order to make more informed decisions, so that those products themselves have less of a carbon footprint, have a more positive environmental impact, whether it be in the materials, the manufacturing, your packaging, distribution, or the biggest issue for the hotel industry is, particularly when it comes to FF&E and architectural building products, what do you do every time you renovate a hotel? Where does all that product end up, right? So our approach is highlighting and really putting a spotlight on manufacturers who are leading on this, but we're also bringing everybody else along by giving them, key performance indicators, and they're rated on every year. And the way Marriott uses that data is it informs their brand standards. So they look for the manufacturers whose products are going to meet the high priority goals and choose those to go into those brand standards that end up in thousands of hotels worldwide. By 2025, Marriott's goal is 95% of the products they specify for the brand standards will be at the leader level of our rating. Our rating system is basically good, better, best. Everybody is on the journey, right? And the highest performing are those that have figured out how to reduce their carbon in manufacturing, reduce their carbon in their product, eliminate chemicals of concern, change their packaging so there's less of it, still protecting the product, but then there's less waste, there's less, you can fit more product on any carrier. All of that is helping to reduce greenhouse gas emissions.
Right. Now, looking at the global nature of your business or the business Marriott is in, and ourselves as well as PKF Hotel Experts, a hospitality group. Now, a lot of people are, when they look at brand standards and at prescribed goods that need to be used to fit out a room, and often I have no idea why the waste paper basket is mentioned. is it going to extend into other areas of the world where, say, I sit in Africa and I'm building a hotel in Africa? Do I now have to build or buy that specified waste paper basket that Marriott in the States have prescribed, or is there a product that I can locally buy in order to also?
Excellent question.
You understand what I'm saying? Because
Totally.
often it has been like that it has been specified, and the brands have also been accused of driving their own agenda kind of thing. And people say, well, hang on, do I have to buy it from over there? We talk about transport, we're talking about all sorts of other things. What's happening in that line?
Yeah, great, excellent question. So the space that we work with in Marriott is their FF&E and architecture building products for their prototypical brand standards, and there are 14 of them. We are working with a variety of other hotel brands and ownership groups, property management companies. And our approach is really almost a formula, if you will, that can be applied to any product produced by any manufacturer. So the key, Nils, is that it's the specification. It's what's the criteria that a product needs to meet. And you're absolutely right. We need to move away from this concept of, ignoring what might be available to us locally to buy from somebody that's producing at 3,000, 10,000 miles away, because of all the issues related to embodied carbon, not only in the production, but just getting it to us. Yeah. And on top of that, supporting local jobs, supporting local artisans, all that kind of thing. So there is a big focus on working locally, but the idea is working locally within a framework of how should that product perform, right? What's that criteria in terms of its environmental and social impact?
But if I now say I am PKF hotels, we don't do hotels or we don't run hotels, right, but let's say we were, and I would come to you and say, look, I'm buying at the moment from Joe Bloggs, and I'm buying, I'm buying tables from Joe Bloggs and chairs from Peter, Paul and Mary, and would you then assess them for me, or do I have to change to somebody else, or how does it work?
That's a great question. So we have almost 200 manufacturers globally that we've assessed already. We do it so on an annual basis, and our program is open to everybody. So we really encourage the clients that we work with to provide us their list of preferred vendors, or the ones that they like to work with on an ongoing basis, and we work with those organizations. And we actually really provide consulting guidance to them as well, because it's a whole framework. Like, it's all these specific things that you can do. It's really a plan to say, when you think about your material choices, what should you be looking at when you're doing your manufacturing? You should consider your energy, your water, your waste. Measuring your carbon, right? What are the options available to you? Right. So we can come in and help, and we do this for large global organizations, and we do it for the smaller ones as well. And obviously, it's interesting, both need different levels of handholding. The large global organizations, you have lots of layers to get through, and the small organizations oftentimes they have great practices, they just don't document it very well, right? And so we help with that as well. So,
and who, if I may ask, who pays you? Do I pay you as the hotel, or does the manufacturer pay you?
Yeah, great question. So the manufacturer pays us. The hotel pays us from the standpoint of being able to utilize the information and the analytics and reporting. So for an individual, more mom and pop hotel, it's really going to be more about the tools to make those decisions. For the bigger organizations that are part of, REITs that are reporting to public markets or to investors, and they have to tell their story, and have all the data behind it to demonstrate their commitment and progress when it comes to environmental and social responsibility. That's what they're paid for as well.
Great. And now, on a personal note, when I travel, and due to this horrible thing called COVID, that has been a little bit curtailed, but it'll start again soon, and I will again be faced with these beautiful little bottles of shampoo and body lotion and conditioner and hand cream or whatever else might be in there. When will we see the end of those? I mean, because we've been talking about it for a while, and that to me is one of those. I mean, I made a note here talking about low-hanging fruit. This to me is one of those things that we just need to say, this is the last order that I will place for these small bottles, and that is it then. I mean, I don't know where is the bottleneck, excuse the pun.
The bottleneck is people, frankly. As you look at different brands, you will go into their hotels and you'll see that they've got the bottles in the shower that are refilled. And for a long time, there was real concern about sanity and how would the guests perceive that. And, there's been this, people that are used to doing things a certain way can be resistant to change. I wish I had an answer to that, to be candid. It does come down to the will of people that are, can stand up and say, enough, we're done.
Right.
The consumer's well past it. Speaking as a woman, traveling for work and pleasure all the time, I bring my own, right? I have my own preferred products, right? And a lot of people do. And then, the waste that's just associated with it is so in people's face.
Yeah.
And I think, frankly, it's just, there's just a lot of people that have been entrenched in the way of doing things, and they need, frankly, to be almost hit over the head. Be said, you can make this change, and you will still have guests. They're not going to go away.
Absolutely. And look, there's a fantastic product out there in big bottles, beautiful product in big bottles that are nicely secured, where people cannot steal them. If you're in a luxury end, you can even give them to your guests. But if you're not in a luxury end, you need to secure them. But it does work. I think maybe we should do a little movement away with the small bottles or something like that. Because the commitment has been made by the brands a couple of years ago, if I remember correctly. They were saying we will, discontinue those, whatever. Yet when you walk into many hotels, in fact, probably most still that I've been to, have the small bottles. And then they actually say where they were manufactured, and you look at that carbon impact.
Yes.
Anyway, just the last time is running out. I hate this clock all the time, but the water madness, I call it water madness. And I know I will step on a few toes when I say this, but water from certain exotic islands and water from, I think, Norway or wherever it comes. What's your view on that? Because water, I believe, and I live in Africa, and water is obviously a very scarce resource here, but people are always talking about it being a human right. But it should be a human right everywhere where I go, decent water that I can drink, and I don't have to import it for thousands of dollars a case or hundreds of dollars a case, certainly. What's your view on that?
Well, full confession, I did work for Pepsi earlier in my career. And I think that what you've seen happen over the last 20, 30 years is the enormous power of consumer brands to create a habit out of something that was like, if you had asked our grandparents, great grandparents about this concept of getting water in plastic bottles, right? They would have looked at you like you were absolutely crazy. Yeah. And I think that the backlash is not as strong yet as it needs to be to have that be a change everywhere. But it's happening. And there's a big hotel organization that I just learned about that is working on a renovation, and they're putting the refillable stations in each hall, on each floor, which is fantastic, right? I think we're going to see more of that. I do think that COVID has delayed things, right? I mean, the renovation and new development work has really been on standstill for the past 2 years. But as we emerge out of this, I think that you're going to see a lot more leadership at certainly from the bigger operators. Hopefully the smaller ones will follow along as well. But we are seeing changes, and the consumer is waking up to this just not making a lot of sense either.
Yeah, no, I think, when you look at that kind of money, if one were to put a fraction of that into municipal supplies and allow the municipalities, the town councils or whatever, to have fountains of drinking water, and you can refill your own or whatever, we'd still end up with change to send to Africa to make sure that people have got sanitized water available there. JoAnna, I thank you so much for your time. We have lots and lots of other stuff to talk about, but the time is out for now. Thank you for your time. Really appreciate it. I wish you well. You certainly made my mind click, excuse the pun, and I hope we've done that with this chat for a few other people. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.